Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. All right, thanks. We don't need no loudspeakers, we got him. All right, welcome to the installation of the brand new Grand Lodge officers for the Grand Lodge of Indiana for 2025-2026. If you would all be so reverently attentive, we will now have the officers and their escorts enter the building.
I'll grab this so we know where we are.
Guests, non-Masons, ladies, as we do this ceremony, there will be raps of the gavel. If you are not a Mason, please ignore that. That is for the benefit of the Masons in the room, and we just appreciate you being here, taking part in the ceremony. I will be using a gavel made by our recently deceased past Grand Master, Dennis T. Harrell, which was presented to our outgoing past Grand Master, David G. Morgan. So it's an honor to be able to use this gavel for this ceremony. I will now call up most worshipful brother, Richard G. Ellman, to be, oh, there he is, he's in line. He will do the prologue for the ceremony. I can't see you for looking, brother, I apologize. Yes.
Thank you, most worshipful ladies, brethren, and guests. Speculative Freemasonry is a course of moral instructions, veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols. It makes use of the tools of the operative workman to teach its sublime lessons, designed to erect a moral edifice whereby rough ashlars may become perfect ashlars, and each body a living stone for that spiritual building, that house, not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. In a day when a multitude of organizations seek to impress their objectives upon society, Freemasonry occupies a unique position. Its teachings are deeply religious in nature, yet it is in no sense a religion nor a substitute therefor, and it adopts no sectarian creed. Its charities and benevolences are as well known as they are widespread, yet charity and benevolence are the fruits of its teachings rather than the reason for its existence. It stands for citizenship of the highest order, for enlightenment and orderly liberty, civil, religious, intellectual. Yet it is not a political movement and engages in no partisan activity. It seeks to improve the community, yet it is not a civic nor service club, and it avoids active participation in any type of campaign or movement. It wages war only against the powers of darkness, ignorance, superstition, and tyranny. Its grand aim is to teach, encourage, and inspire those who join its ranks to take their places in society as responsible citizens, each with a genuine concern for his fellow man, to the end that God may be glorified and his children may live together on this earth as brothers. Thus, through the improvement and strengthening of the character of the individual man, Freemasonry seeks to improve the community. Thus, it impresses upon its members the principles of personal righteousness, personal responsibility, enlightens them as to those things which make for human welfare, and inspires them with that feeling of charity or goodwill towards all mankind, which will move them to translate principle into convictions, into actions. Since the far-off period in the Middle Ages when our operative ancestors erected those noble structures and soaring cathedrals of Europe and the British Isles, our ancient craft has congregated in lodges, each governed by a master and 2 wardens, and each lodge responsible to the Grand Lodge, governed by the Grand Master of Masons and his 2 wardens. By the suffrage of his brethren, a Grand Master has been called to leadership in this jurisdiction. It now becomes our pleasing duty to conduct the ceremony by which he will be invested, saluted, and proclaimed Grand Master of Masons in the state of Indiana, and by which those officers who assist him may assume the duties of their high office.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present these distinguished worthy brothers who have been elected by the Grand Lodge to conduct the business of the Grand Lodge for the ensuing year, and they stand before you ready for installation.
Worshipful brother, before proceeding to invest you with the honors and responsibilities of the office to which you respectively have been selected, it becomes my duty to administer to you the obligation of your office. You will therefore repeat after me that, say your name, I do solemnly promise and swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution, laws, and edicts and general regulations of the Grand Lodge of the state of Indiana, and that I will, to the utmost of my knowledge and ability, discharge the duties of the office with which I am now about to be invested. So help me God. Brother Chaplain. Where's the chaplain? Brother the chaplain.
O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, who hast made man a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. In thee, O Lord, did we place our trust in days gone by. Thou art still our rock and refuge. Hear us as we acknowledge our human frailties and seek thy divine guidance. Help us to remember that when the strength and wisdom of man fails, there is an inexhaustible supply above, yielded to us through the power of prayer. Grant, O thou God, great architect of the universe, that this, thy servant, who is now about to be invested with the government of our ancient craft in this jurisdiction, may be a man after thine own heart, zealous in the cause and devoted to the service. Endue him with the firmness of mind and steadfast of purpose. Give unto him, all of us, we beseech, thy wisdom from on high to direct our steps, strength commensurate with our task to support us, and the beauty and holiness to render all our performances acceptable in thy sight. Be thou our guide, O merciful Father, this day and always, that in all our works begun, continued, and ended in Thee, may glorify the name, and that the institution in whose service we are engaged may be worthy of the divine favor. Establish Thou the work of our hands upon us, O Lord, yea, the work of our hands establish Thou art. Amen.
Okay. The Grand Lodge will now join in singing the hymn, St. Anne.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present to you our right worshipful brother, Randolph Luther Seipel, to be installed as Grand Master of Masons for the Grand Lodge of the State of Indiana. He stands ready for installation.
No.
In that night did God appear unto Solomon and said unto him, Ask, what shall I give thee? And Solomon said unto God, Thou hast showed great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me to reign in his stead. Now, O Lord, let thy promise unto David my father be established, for thou hast made me king over a people like the dust of the earth in multitude. Give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this thy people? That is so great.
Thank you. Right worshipful brother, by the voice of the brethren, you have been selected to occupy the highest and most exalted position in Freemasonry, an office that carries with it the power and authority to govern the craft without dictation or pressure from any source. By immemorial usage and irrevocable landmarks of Masonry, you are invested as a Grand Master of Masons with powers and prerogatives well nigh absolute. Yet this office carries with it tremendous responsibilities. In the volume of sacred law it is written, And to whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask more. Thus you will not only rule and govern, but you must be the servant of all. Upon your shoulders will rest the grave responsibility of seeing that peace and harmony prevail at all times, that the ancient landmarks, customs, and usages of the craft are carefully preserved, that no innovations are allowed to interrupt the peace and good fellowship which must prevail in the fraternity if it is to continue to command the trust and respect of all men everywhere. From our knowledge of your zeal and ability, we feel confident that you will discharge the duties of this important station in such a manner as will greatly redound to your honor, as well as to the good will and prosperity of the craft, which you are now to govern. It now but remains for you to be clothed with the insignia of your rank and authority. With genuine pleasure, therefore, we invest you with the jewel of your office, the square and compass, whose symbolic meaning will have a new and striking significance to you. Brother Marshall. And now, most worshipful sir, permit me to conduct you to your chair, where you will assume the gavel of authority and enter upon the discharge of those important duties which you now devolve upon you. And may the Father of light, life, and love invest you with the highest and with his choice gifts. Marshall, I think you may proclamation. Most worshipful Grand Master, behold your Grand Lodge. Brother, behold your most worshipful Grand Master, and join with me in saluting him with grand honors, taking your cue from me, 3 times 3, right and left. Brother, you will now join in singing the installation ode. Cardinal Sin, I almost finished. Would you like to finish installing your altar?
Most worshipful Past Grand Master Kenny Roy, it would be my honor for you to continue with the installation.
It would be my honor.
There's a script, you can read it.
Wow.
He has to be able to read.
Oh, that's true.
I'm suspended, right? The second lesson.
And Solomon determined to build a house for the name of the Lord and a house for his kingdom. And Solomon told out 70,000 men to bear burdens, and 80,000 to hew in the mountains, and 3,600 to oversee them. And Solomon sent to Hiram, the king of Tyre, saying, As thou didst deal with David my father, and didst send him cedars to build him a house to dwell within, even so deal with me. Behold, I will build a house to the name of the Lord my God.
Right worshipful brother, the station to which you have been called by your brethren is one of great dignity and importance. In the absence of the Grand Master, you are to exercise his prerogatives and preside over the Grand Lodge. In his presence, you are to assist and support him in all his endeavors. But while your powers and privileges are thus extensive, remember that they bring with them a corresponding share of responsibility. Let the Constitution, laws, and landmarks of our craft be your constant study, that you may be the better enabled to assist in preserving them inviolate and ready to exercise the functions of that more exalted station to which you may be called. The jewel of your office is the square. It's used to square our actions by the square of virtue. As you receive it and take your seat on the right of the most worshipful Grand Master to aid me with your counsel and advice.
And it came to pass that Hiram heard the word of Solomon, that he rejoiced greatly, and said, Blessed be the Lord this day, which has given unto David a wise son over the great people. And Hiram sent to Solomon, saying, I have considered the things that thou sentest to me for, and I will do all thy desire concerning timber of cedar and concerning timber of fir.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present to you Right Worshipful Stephen Bates to be installed as Senior Grand Warden for the ensuing year.
Right Worshipful Brother, as King Hiram of Tyre came to the support of Solomon in his great and important undertaking, you are called to stand as a pillar of strength in this Grand Lodge. In supporting the Grand Master, you are charged to exemplify strength of mind and of purpose, strength of heart and of character. In the absence of your superiors, you are to govern the craft. In their presence, you will aid and uphold them. We firmly rely on your attachment to the principles of Freemasonry for a faithful discharge of the duties committed to you in your present station and in preparations for posts of greater service. The jewel of your office is the level, a reminder of equality. Its use is to lay horizontals. Receive it and take your station, being careful to look well to the west.
And Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. He was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali, and his father was a man of Tyre, a worker in brass. And he was filled with wisdom and understanding and cunning to work all works in brass. And he came to King Solomon and wrought all his work.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present to you Jerry D. Maple to be installed as the Junior Grand Warden for the ensuing year.
Right Worshipful Brother, as Hiram the builder was called out of Tyre to beautify and adorn the temple with his cunning workmanship, so do we charge you to hold before your brethren the pillar of beauty, the beauty of harmony and holiness, that beauty of rectitude and integrity which adorn the spiritual temple we seek to erect within the hearts of men. The prosperity of the institution ought never to suffer for want of leaders both skilled and trusty. You therefore see the necessity of preparing yourself for the high responsibilities that may devolve upon you. The jewel of your office is the plumb, which teaches rectitude of conduct. Its use is to try perpendiculars. Receive it, and take your station before being careful to look well to the south. Treasurer.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present to you Kenneth E. Willis Jr., past Grand Master, to be installed as treasurer for the ensuing year, and Richard J. Ellman, past Grand Master, to be installed as secretary. I could have brought my ladder.
Do you get high pay for this job? Yeah. Okay. Right Worshipful Grand Treasurer, the office to which you have been elected embraces a trust of great responsibility. That you have been called to administer it is evidence of the high opinion we entertain in your prudence and fidelity. Let it be your constant care not to forfeit the least of that confidence. The crossed keys forming the jewel of your office have a twofold significance. They are instruments to bind as well as to loose, to make fast as well as to open. I am confident you will use them only to further the great work of our institution, as your brethren may direct, as our rules and regulations may provide. Right Worshipful Grand Secretary, your office is in many respects the most important in Grand Lodge, excepting only that of the Grand Master. Placed in a position where you are in almost constant contact with our Masonic brethren at home and abroad, upon you dissolves in a large degree the good name and prestige of the fraternity in this jurisdiction. Let your carriage be marked with that distinction, which will at once reflect credit upon the body you represent. In investing you with your official jewel, the crossed quills, I am persuaded that they will write an enduring record of the honor of the craft so largely dependent upon your experience and ability. Congratulations.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present to you Michael D. Brinson to be installed as Grand Chaplain for the ensuing year. And Tyler D. Whitaker to be the almost wonderful Grand Marshal for the ensuing year.
Congratulations. Worshipful Grand Chaplain. Okay. Are we singing? Okay. Worshipful Grand Chaplain, it will be your duty to conduct the devotional exercises at our communications and to perform all sacred functions at our public ceremonies. In all its ceremonials and rituals, Freemasonry inculcates a high veneration for religion and acknowledges our entire dependence upon the supporting hand of deity. The Holy Bible, that great light in Masonry, we entrust to your care. And while you teach its holy precepts to your brethren, may your own deportment afford the best example of their vital importance. Worshipful Grand Marshal, it is your duty to issue proclamations, to arrange all processions of the Grand Lodge, to preserve order according to the forms and prescribed, to be ever attentive to the commands of the Grand Master, and always near at hand to see them duly executed. Skill and precision are especially necessary for the faithful discharge of these assignments. Worshipful brethren, receive these jewels as emblems of your authority and enter upon the duties of your various offices.
Most Worshipful Grand Master, I present to you Dennis E. Davis to be the Grand Lecturer for the ensuing year, and Frederick L. Rupavall to be the Assistant Grand Lecturer.
You didn't even have to jump up for those two.
No, they're normal size. That could even be fun size.
Congratulations, brother. Worshipful Grand Lecturer and Worshipful Assistant Grand Lecturer, it will be your duty to instruct the craft, to communicate light, to preserve our ritual and traditions, to stand guard that the ancient landmarks be not removed nor infringed upon. Let it be your special object, then, to see that the glory, honor, and reputation of the institution may be firmly established and the world at large convinced of its good efforts. Worshipful brethren, receive these jewels as emblems of your authority and enter upon the duties of your offices.
Most Worshipful Grand Master, I present to you David E. Westmeyer to be installed as Senior Grand Deacon for the ensuing year.
I wondered how he was going to do that. Yeah.
And David J. Hostler to be Junior Grand Deacon.
Congratulations. Worshipful Senior Grand Deacon and Worshipful Junior Grand Deacon, It is your province to attend upon the Grand Master and wardens and act as their proxies in the active duties of the Grand Lodge. To you, with such assistance as may be necessary, is entrusted the introduction of visitors at our communications and the immediate practice of our rites and ceremonies in Grand Lodge. Brother Grant Stewart and Tyler, whoops, he's not up here, is he? You want him? Might as well. How about that?
And Jerry A. Matlock to be installed as Grand Steward and Tyler.
Brother Grant Stewart and Tyler, in your post of duty, you will discharge the traditional functions of the Tyler, suffering none to pass or repass, but such as are duly qualified and have permission from proper authority. A prompt and faithful performance will render the best evidence of your attachment to the sublime principles of our fraternity. Worshipful brethren, receive these jewels as emblems of your authority and enter upon the duties of your various offices. Congratulations.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present to you Jacob Lamerson to be the musician for the ensuing year.
It has been written that music has charms to soothe the savage beast. The works of masonry are barren when in its absence. It supplies cadence for the processional, accompanies the singing voice with harmonious support, and enhances that feeling of ritual by laying a soft, melodious tonal blanket under its more lyric passages. Brother Grand Organist, you are charged to share your time and talents with this worshipful Grand Lodge, that the beauty of sound may be blended with the poetry of language to render its ceremonies moving and memorable. While you're there. Would you like to make a proclamation?
In the name and under the auspices of the most worshipful Grand Lodge of free and accepted Masons for the state of Indiana, I declare that these brothers have been duly and truly installed the 21st day of May, AD 2025, AL 6025.
Now the benediction.
Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. The Lord lift up upon us and give us peace this day and evermore. Amen.
Brethren, we will now sing our national anthem. Most worshipful Grand Master, this concludes the installation ceremony, and on behalf of myself and the rest of the installation team, I would like to thank you for the great honor and privilege of installing you as Grand Master and all your officers for the ensuing year. And at this point, I will tender the gavel to you for your Grand Lodge.
Most worshipful Grand Installing Officer, would you call up the Grand family for them to present the apron?
I would be honored. Brethren from the family of Southwest Indiana, would you please come join me in the east to present our Grand Master with his new apron? Brother Bill, Brother Gale, Brother Ken, Brother David. Is that money? Is that?
No, we had it just right. I already fit it.
Not now.
That way they get to wrestle with it.
Thank you, gentlemen. If you're home. Page 31 at the top.
Okay. I would now like to call on the presentation of the Grand Master's jewel and collar to David G. Morgan. So the family come back up.
Then you do a torch. Torch ceremony is underneath, it's underneath the book on the left. Yeah, it's underneath the book, it's under.
You've had a great year, most worshipful past Grand Master, and it gives me great joy to present you, along with the family, your past Grand Master jewel. May you wear it with dignity and honor for the rest of your days.
No, yeah.
We're not done.
Wait. Here, Dave. Call on your Grand Steward and Tyler to go out and secure the torch, and then begin.
At this time, I'd like to call upon the Brother Grand, Stewart, and Tyler to present the fraternal torch of light and wisdom.
Jerry, take it to Morgan. Take it to David. David.
Just hold it.
Grand Master, will you join us here at the podium? Most worshipful brother, we are often admonished that it is necessary that some must lead and others follow. The brethren of this great fraternity have elected you to its highest office, and for a time they will look to you for leadership. Since the earliest beginnings of the craft, the mantle of leadership has been passed from one Grand Master to another in an unbroken line of succession. You are now part of this chain of union and the enduring heritage of Freemasonry in Indiana. This torch, hold it high there, Jerry. This torch, symbolic of the light of Freemasonry and styled after the bicentennial torch of Indiana, is now passed from my care to yours. It is emblematic of the guiding light which you must be for the brethren, and it should be your constant care to keep its flame and the tenets of Freemasonry burning in all of our hearts. Take it with a just hand and let it illuminate your path as the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Indiana and all the brethren of this Grand Lodge. Finally, Grand Master, as we leave this sacred retreat, to you and all brethren, be you all of one mind, live in peace, and may the God of peace and love delight to dwell in all of us. Until we meet again, Brother Randy, Godspeed.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I'm making this up as I go. As you have lit this torch for this year to be the light, I will be my charge to keep that flame lit. Stay covered. I'm going to stay. I like to be down here.
Wait. He's got to present some goals.
Don't get in the way of that.
You could see these, but you can't smell them, and they smell really good. These are for a very special person. I'd like to present these to my wife, Carolyn. Followed me around for 51 years, so Carolyn, this is all for you.
Brethren, ladies, and guests, first I'd like to do a few introductions. Many of us have a wonderful, faithful lady that travels with us and joins us in our journey. And oftentimes it's said, behind every good man, there's a good woman. But But my lady, the First Lady of Indiana Freemasonry, has been beside me, not behind me. Since I was installed as Grand Marshal, the travels, the times, the good times, the bad times, the hard times, the many numerous cans of green beans that have been consumed. She still doesn't like green beans, but she still likes me, I believe. But I would like to introduce to you the First Lady of Indiana Freemasonry, my wife, Mel Seipel. If any of you have heard me talk about my Masonic experience and how I came to this fraternity, I said that I didn't come from a Masonic family, which I did not. But I am proud to say that I have created a Masonic family. My son, Jess Seipel, Master Mason at Temple Lodge 47. And my recently raised brother, Scott Seipel, from Saginaw Lodge 77 in Saginaw, Michigan. I think he was impressed that so many people knew me. So, thank you both for being here. As you know, I talk about the 3 F's in my life: my faith in my God and my Savior, my family, my lovely wife, my brother, my sister who's at home with my brother-in-law who's a member of Jubilee Lodge, my son, my daughter, and our 4 beautiful grandchildren, and Freemasonry. Freemasonry has changed my life, and I appreciate that. And part of that is because of my brothers from Temple Lodge 47 and some of their associates. If my brothers from Temple Lodge 47 would stand up, I see them back this way. Don't be embarrassed. Thank you, brothers. They started me on a great foundation with my mentor, Leo Wilson, a very gruff, rough old man that smoked Longmore cigarettes, and he had smoked as I was doing my questions and answers, and I'd get through the whole proficiency, and I'd say, Leo, how did I do? Because I just wanted to please this old guy so bad. And he'd take a long draw off that Moore cigarette and blow the smoke out and say, you missed 2 words, kid. And I'd go, what 2 words? And he'd take another long draw and blow the smoke out. He goes, that's for you to find out. But he laid a wonderful foundation of the importance of not only learning our ritual, but then of understanding it so then we can live it. And now, my brothers, I'm going to step on the floor where all good Masons meet on the level. And as we part on the square, I want to tell you that there is a power in Freemasonry. Freemasonry is a powerful organization. We're not a club. We're not a service group. We are a banded group of men that want to be better men. And there's power in that. I want to tell you about a story that happened Monday morning. I was busy in the midst of jurisprudence, listening to Roger talk and talk and talk. But it was serious business. And my phone, which rings all the time, was ringing and ringing and ringing. And I was getting a little bit annoyed because I was trying to pay attention. I had 9,000 other things on my mind. And finally, it rang, and I sent a text. I go, I'm in an important meeting. I will call you as soon as I can. I got a text back instead of a phone call that said, I'll be waiting on your call. I need a Mason to pray with me. I got out of that meeting as soon as I could. I picked up the phone. And on the other end of the line was Brother Scott Hebard from New Albany Lodge number 39. And he said, Brother Randy, and he started crying. And I said, Scott, what is the matter? He lost his son that morning, 21 years old. Now I want to tell you that Scott is a good Mason and a good family man, and very active now in Freemasonry. But he's also an ordained minister. He's a full-time minister, a man of the cloth. And I was touched, extremely touched. Not that he called me, but that he called a Mason. That he picked up the phone in that hour, that moment of the great despair of losing a child, and he called a Mason. He called a man that he knew was his brother, that he knew that he could count on, that he knew that someone would answer that phone. And as I've called him twice a day since then, and they've been overwhelmed with calls from brother Masons, and of course support from their family and support from their church, from the Wise. My wife called his wife Teresa to speak to her and ask, what can you do but say, I hurt for you? My brothers, there is power. There is power in this fraternity. And I'm going to tell you that one day there may come a time when the last Masonic temple is a crumbling heap of rubble. But that day is not this day. And my brothers, there may come a time that the cry of the widow and the orphan and the need of a brother goes unanswered, but that day is not this day. And there may be a day that when the word is whispered and the last gasping breaths of two old Masons, that day is not this day. My brothers, today is the day that we stand up. We stand up together as men and as Masons, man to man, hand to hand, heart to heart, and we put our words into action. We become the man and the Mason that we're professed to be in our ritual, that we're professed to be in our charges, and we build this fraternity. We build this fraternity not for the sake of numbers, not for the sake of, look how far we've grown, look how many members we have, but for the sake of brothers, so that each one of us can be accessible to that brother that calls in need, that each one of us can answer the call to the widow, to teach, to help a man grow, and a man grow to live. That is what this fraternity is built upon. My brothers, my ringing challenge this year, and I hope the ringing challenge of every Mason across the state of Indiana, is to follow me to Freemasonry. Be the kind of man in your family, in your profession, in your business life, in your church that other men want to be. So men will go, what is different? What is different about, I see Jim Sharp up there. What is different about him? I want to be like Jim. Jim's a good man. He's a strong man. He's helpful. He's kind. He's wise. How can I do that? Freemasonry. Follow me to Freemasonry. Be the example about what Freemasons really are. Beyond that, be the type of Mason that other Masons want to be. My brothers, I still have a lot of growing to do. My ashlar is still a little rough. I want to be a Mason like our junior past Grand Master Dave. I say that he's a thoughtful man. What does that mean? A lot of people think, well, it's just that he's kind, and he is kind. But a thoughtful man, he thinks, he processes, he cares, he weighs these options, he looks at things, he's not reactive. It's a beautiful thing in this fraternity. We call each other yin and yang because we're so different in our backgrounds, in our lives, the way we talk, the way we react. But yin and yang fit together like a piece of puzzle, don't they, Past Grandmaster? They fit together. Despite our differences, despite our different backgrounds, we fit together because we're united in this fraternity of brotherly love. Brotherly love, relief, and truth. So be the type of Mason that other Masons want to be, and then our newly raised Master Masons won't go home and never come back. Give them something to believe in. Give them something to work on. Give them a goal to strive for. Brothers, this is a beautiful fraternity. It's changed my life. And it's an honor to me not to be the Grand Master, but to be your Grand Master. Thank you very much. Are there any other presentations, Brother Grand Secretary? Anything that we know of?
No, my desk is clear.
Brother Grand Marshal, will you escort the First Lady of Indiana Freemasonry and our other beautiful Grand Lodge ladies from the auditorium? And brethren, if you'd please rise when our ladies and then followed by our non-Masonic guests would leave the room, Please give them the warm welcome and the due regard of every Freemason should from any wonderful lady. Brethren, I now call upon our junior past Grand Master David G. Morgan to close this annual communication opened by you on Tuesday morning, along with Eureka Lodge number 397 in ample form. Brethren, this will conclude the 202nd stated meeting, annual communication of the Grand Lodge of Indiana.